This time, I'm calling the Weldon Board of Education special call meeting to discuss the budget to order. Time is 5:36. The item that we have on the budget, on the agenda is the 2023-2024 budget. At this time, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Harris. Okay, we can do the motion to approve it. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
And motion by Ms. Hill and second by Ms. Harrison. That the agenda be approved. Are there any discussions? All in favor, aye. Ms. Barry Robinson,
Aye.
motion passes. Oh, Kim, excuse me, I didn't see you. Ms. Robinson? Ms. Robinson? Okay, motion passes. Mr. Evans, we'll go with you.
Well, as stated in the minutes or the agenda, is we will be looking at the Weldon School financial budget for 23-24 school year, upcoming school year. What we have, and I'll be getting some assistance from my mentor, Ms. Matilda Campbell, who is assisting me with the budget planning. A lot of this is based on the previous year's budget information and how we plan on proceeding thus forth. So in front of you, you have the proposed budget this year, as well as a revised copy of such. What you also have is the allotment schedule that we were presented with from the Department of Public Instruction, as well as the information from the County Commissioner's Office pertaining to what our funds will be allocated from their office and the tax proceeding. Well, initially, what we're looking at is what the county commissioners would be providing to the school district. As stated, these are not written in stone as of yet, but they are probably very close to accurate numbers. From the local current expense appropriation, they see approximately $709,706 to be appropriated. ABC profits estimated to be $25,194. Fines and forfeitures estimated at $19,890. For a total current expense appropriation of $754,790. We requested in our proposed budget $2,087,185, and that gave a proposed budget and a appropriated estimate of a negative $1,332,395. On the capital outlay side, the capital outlay appropriation that the county commissioners should appropriate is approximately $99,124. Capital outlay due to Article 44 is $195,000. And capital outlay total appropriation of about $294,124 for the upcoming school year, with a budget request of $1,236,744 and a difference of $942,620. As we look forward, these numbers are considerably less than what we had asked for, but from what we understand, that the county commissioners feel that this is what the appropriation is most likely to be.
So is this something that they sent you back after you all submitted the wish
Correct.
list?
Correct.
And if I will, Mr. Williams, to add to that, I shared with Mr. Edwards, with the capital outlay request, you have to deduct, $58,077. And that, as you know, that is from the QSAP bond that the district applied for years ago to do the renovation to the back of the gym. So it ended up being $236,047 for the capital outlay piece.
Are there any questions? Ms. Barry Robinson?
I have a question. Ms. Campbell,
Yes, ma'am.
question about the budget, because this is the first time that I've seen it done this way. Do we normally submit something in advance prior to it coming before the board and we speaking about it, us talking about it?
In the past, we've always submitted a proposed budget. This year, they asked for it sooner than what they normally have done in the past. I don't know if it's because they had a change in county managers. The previous county manager would kind of work with the district to wait and let the board approve it. But this time, they didn't give any type of leeway.
Okay,
In the past, yes, we have submitted a proposed budget. It's a wish list. Looking at some of the increases that you normally would project. We would make a request to let them know that, you know, we can share this information, but we can't leave the information because, you know, we would like the board to approve it. But this time, there was no such leeway from the county office with that when they sent out the dates, when all this information was requested.
okay. I thought that we had looked at it before and that didn't happen this time. Thank
And
you.
I think it was, I'm assuming it's because of the change in county managers and the process that they're doing down there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Kim Robinson?
Good evening, everyone. Ms. Campbell, when did we get that request for the budget?
I would have to go back and check my emails to see, when that request came in, but I can go back and pull it. I don't think I have it in here with me, but I can check. Because it was like you got the request and they had already scheduled everybody's meetings when they were gonna come in to do the proposed budget, and then they told when it would need to be due, but I can go back and see if I have a copy of the letter in the budget folder in Mr. Edwards' office.
Okay, and do you have the difference in between what we requested in the beginning before we've seen it and what they actually are proposing to give us? Do you have that?
Actually, what we
The
requested, what was actually requested, was $2,087,185 for Fund 2 and Fund 8. And the difference was $1,332,395 less than what we requested. And as I shared with Mr. Edwards, when you making those requests to the county, I was always taught you ask for, the sky's the limit, even though you may not get it, but you know, you ask for it. And then with capital outlay, it was like a $942,000 plus different as far as what was requested. And with capital out, ma'am,
I remember us doing that last year when we met back in February, and then we sent it on in March. We asked for the limit and we got closer to what we wanted because we asked for more.
And from what I was told from the county office, I think her name was Ms. Wells, she said a proposed budget was not submitted last school year. She said that, the previous interim superintendent and maintenance person came down and talked to them. Because I was trying to figure out, to help Mr. Edwards figure out what was requested last year. And she told me there was not a proposed budget submitted last year.
Really? Well, it
That's
must have
what
been
she
the year
shared with
before.
me. And I think Ms. Futrell was in when I made that phone call. You remember we called the county office? The lady told us there was no request made last year.
Okay, so you said the interim superintendent and the who now?
She said it was the maintenance person last year that came down. And they just came to discuss some of the needs that the district needed.
Okay, thank you very much for that information. That is not what we usually do. That wasn't following protocol. But thank you. And we were unaware of that as far as I know. I was not aware of that.
And I do know prior to, before I left, we discussed when I would pull together, once we got from the county what we was getting, I will put together a budget and bring it for the board and share that information. And then at that time, if the board wanted to make any changes, we made the changes from that budget prior to me presenting it at board meeting. And then I will highlight the changes that was made.
Right. Mhm.
Okay, that's what I remember happening. But evidently,
That would be the final, that would have been the final budget.
gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Campbell,
Yes,
Ms. Campbell,
yes, ma'am,
can you send that date to us, please?
I can.
Thank you.
As I stated before, that was information about the current expense part of the budget for next year. Moving forward,
Because that'll be at your actual budget.
Right.
Do that.
Right.
I think one of the main things, Mr. Edwards, one of the main things Mr. Edwards need at this point, so that now that he received planning allotments from the state, he needs to know, is there any special request from the board to see into the local part of the budget?
I have a
Yes,
question.
I have okay. I yield.
So the local value.
Yes,
Okay, in the last budget, there was raises for 5% raises included into that budget.
and we estimated 5% in the proposed budget. And they have not said yet what the raises are. And I've always used the rule of thumb, you do 5%, if they give you 3%, you got some leeway in other areas.
Okay, but the raises, is it across the board?
They'll be across the
For
board.
everyone?
You have the teachers' estimated allotment,
State.
what they saying teachers may be making.
Mhm.
That's normally decided between the House and the Senate and the governor. And as of right now, when we were looking on the website, only the House has made their request as far as what they want to see as for teachers' raises. The Senate and the governor hadn't put theirs out yet.
Okay, but the other 5% raise that was included in that preliminary budget,
Mhm.
that was that,
Across the
Across the
board for
board,
classified, directors, TAs, all of those that's paid, anybody that's paid out of local budget.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask my question now?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Edwards and Ms. Campbell, looking at our budget allotments from DPI, I would need to know if we're falling under their guidelines, such as we have been allotted, we have 45 kindergarten students, and we're only allotted 2 TAs for every 3 classes of 21. Are we falling under that guideline right now?
TAs are only supposed to be in, pre-K and kindergarten classes. And I can't speak to that right now because I haven't, I didn't help prepare the last year budget, so I don't know if that's the case now, if they're just in pre-K or kindergarten.
Okay. And go on.
I was gonna ask, what about the other teachers to student ratio?
With you being Restart, you really don't fall up under that ratio because now that the district has 3 schools that are Restart, there's no class size maximization as far as class sizes. When it comes to that ratio, there's no class size because you are up under the Restart model for 3 of your 4 schools.
But the money is the same, correct?
The money is the same.
Okay.
The downside about Restart is it's $1 allotment and it's based on the ADM. And, if you got high paid teachers in your Restart school, it's gonna eat that Restart budget up to the point where you only got money to cover your salaries and your benefits. Hopefully, you get enough to cover it. And they send an X amount of dollars per child. And some of the salaries are over, they're high salaries because teachers got a lot of years of experience. And so when you're doing your Restart transfer, that's why your RVET, your early college, all teachers I've always budgeted them to be in your local budget because you need those O1 positions to help with your transfer.
Okay, so with our building administrators, then we're allotted 4 building administrators, but we're paying 5. So where is the money coming from that 5th building administrator? Is it coming out of the funds?
So you have the state for school principals. Let me find it. Hold on one second, Ms. Robinson. I think they gave you 4 principal positions. And when you do the conversion, you're only converting 3 of those principal positions because you leave 1 for your early college.
Right.
And then for the assistant principal, you only have 1 assistant principal. And that's, they give you 1 month for every 98.53 ADM. And in the past, they haven't even given you 10 months for that assistant principal to cover it. But because we Restart, you go ahead and put that assistant principal in your Restart budget.
Okay. So we are paying 5 on a principal level though, to include our Charter Academy. So where's that 5th?
This is coming, that one is also coming out of Restart right now because all this alternative school money and at-risk funds was used to convert to Restart. So it's coming out of Restart as of right now.
So it's coming out of state funds?
Yes, ma'am, out of Restart funds, yes.
Okay.
Because it's serving that particular school that is a Restart school.
Okay.
Question,
Okay, Ms. Barry Roberts.
do we know anything else about that, our funding? Have we gotten anything back
For what, Restart?
from DPI period?
I mean, they submitted the planning budget, but it's the estimate, is nothing final. It's called the state planning allotment, and it's just an estimate. They said this is nothing in stones. So it's just an estimate, but most times when they say it's an estimate, it may be tweeted by a little bit, but then you still have to take in consideration your best of one or two, your first and second month ADM.
I'm not sure if you're speaking about what I'm speaking about, Ms. Campbell. I'm talking about the letter and all that went to DPI and all of that.
I'm not sure what letter you're speaking of, Ms. Bird Robertson.
Okay. Dr. Carpenter, can you answer that question, please?
I haven't received any communication from DPI in reference to that. I'm not sure if it will be sent to me. And it hasn't, any updates hasn't been shared with me at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Edwards, do you have any updates on that?
No, I do not.
Ms. Bird Robinson,
Yes, ma'am.
what are you talking about?
What am I talking about?
Mhm.
Funding for our school.
Oh,
The letter that was sent to DPI and budget,
okay.
you know what I'm talking about?
Okay. I think she's talking about,
In reference to audit?
Hmm?
Audit?
oh, okay, I hadn't heard anything on that.
Yeah.
The audit.
In reference to the audit, Ms. Bird Robinson?
That's exactly what I'm speaking about, the audit.
Yes, I don't have that information, I'm sorry.
We're still working with the current auditors, trying to get those documents finalized. Other than them requesting information, I believe that we have provided to them in a format that's useful for them. Currently, we're trying to upload those documents into a shared file that the HR CPAs are going to provide to me a link to do such.
So in short, we don't have any information back from DPI.
Not from DPI or the actual auditors, because we're still working with them.
Thank you.
You wanna move on, Ms. L?
I think what Mr. Edwards need to know if, is there, besides what's in the proposed budget, is there any additional items or anything that the board wants to add to it? So when we start working on the actual budget, we'll know, what to add.
Has anything been added that is different from this current school year?
No,
Okay,
the only thing that would be different, and we wouldn't know that until the audit is finished, is, how much of the fund balance can be used.
okay. So he needs to know if we want to hire more teachers at certain schools, we want to
No.
hire an additional assistant principal. Is that your question?
Yes, ma'am. Anything, any additional items that you would like to see in the budget more than what's already in the proposed budget? Yes.
As far as instruction, I think we need to stay where we are right now until all these questions with the audit and DPI come out.
Sure you get it.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, as far as assistant principals are concerned, I feel that Weldon Middle School need an assistant principal.
And I think that was already in the proposed budget.
There was also, I believe, I saw an automobile in the proposed budget.
And what that is, if it's all right with
Yes,
you,
yes.
what that is, every year, the county requests you to update a 5-year capital outlay plan. And that was one thing that we had to call about to see what was in the capital outlay plan for last year. And of course, that was not submitted. And so once that spreadsheet was sent back to us. We forward the spreadsheet to the appropriate staff members to fill that information out. And in that 5-year plan, it was for a service truck vehicle that was submitted from that department. Because I know I can't call names because we're in open session, but there was a service truck on that 5-year plan. So everything that's in the capital outlay proposed budget is what's on that capital outlay 5-year plan. Because technology had to submit something, maintenance had to submit something, transportation, so it was several departments, and it's most of it dealing with building maintenance, any upgrades that technology wanted to see done within next school year. So that's what made up the capital outlay proposed budget.
So it's nothing that we're necessarily allotting for, but because in the 5-year budget, it doesn't have to be this upcoming
No,
budget, but
it does not.
within the next 5 years.
Right, so if
So it's kind of like a wish list.
yeah, if the board says no, we don't want to see that service vehicle in the capital outlay plan, even though we put it in the proposed budget, that item can be scratched off when we work on the final budget.
Okay,
Because as you can see, the capital outlay budget consists of, I'm sorry, Mr. I'm sliding over because I'm dropping my mask on. The capital outlay, you're using the county appropriation they're giving you. You're using that special Article 44 money. And then you have sales tax. And you, hopefully, you can build your capital outlay budget to use those 3 funds and along with interest that you get from capital outlay without using any fund balance. But then if the board comes back and there's more things that's needed, because I think the modular units for the middle school is listed in that plan as well. So all of those things have to be taken in consideration, and then hopefully you don't use any fund balance to balance the budget based on those areas.
My question is, why did we not see that 5-year capital outlay plan prior to it being submitted?
And that piece was requested at the same time, Ms. K. Robinson, and like I said, I try to find that letter and get it to the board
Okay,
when they requested that information.
thank you.
All of those things was requested at the same time.
Okay.
Let's say anything else, Mr. Evans?
Well, we're looking at also, unless we want to continue with the proposed allotments, they break this down per PRC on what the allotments proposed should be for the upcoming year. And each unit is highlighted on your your whole your pamphlet. And they, like I said, they're broken down by general PRCs.
Did you give that to the board? Did you give that document to the board?
Which
Which
one?
one is it?
He's talking about the state
the
plan and
allotment.
allotment, plan and allotment.
Yes, that's what you have in your hand there.
Right.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
But as you look through them, you can position yourself to look at where Weldon City Schools falls with their ADM, as well as what the proposed allotment should be, as well as there are 2 basic positions. You have a dollar amount in some of those PRCs, as well as some of them will have a position amount. Like Matilda said, Ms. Campbell said, that if you look at positions, you don't factor in the actual dollar amount because the positions are going to be paid in full.
And
Okay,
that won't fall for Weldon because Weldon has 3 schools that are restart. And you're using those O1 positions to cover your restart allocation. So basically, what Mr. Ellis is speaking about is you take, for instance, your state 002 money. You try to put your highest paid people, as I shared with Mr. Ellis, in your state budgets. So you'll put your highest paid people for state 002, which is central office administration. You put your highest paid people in that budget first. And then you take the rest of your school central office administration and you'll put them in Fund 8 and Fund 2. But you try to put your highest paid people in state first. Because most of your positions are used for restart. Your state 01 positions, your instructional support, your teacher assistants, your principals, but you're using all of it except for 12 months, because you keep one for your early college. So you try to use those positions and those months of employment first for your restart. So most times you don't have any 01 positions left. It will be great, but because of you restart, you have to convert.
I have one thing, when we represented the, what was it, like, the emergency plan, what's what it's called, from the different schools. The safety plan. And I know that, I see the security systems upgrade for, well, the middle, but they need them at the elementary school also, so could you also include that as well?
So you're talking about these, metal detectors?
No,
What?
cameras.
Cameras, okay.
Yes, ma'am. And, I guess, yeah, and security cameras is already in here for Weldon Middle, but we needed it.
Well,
Weldon
no,
Elementary as well.
okay,
It wasn't included in here.
okay.
And,
I'll work with Mr. Futrell to assist us with that.
okay, and I'm trying to think. What else that we discussed? I see this, the metal detection. And that's good. But I wanted to ask a question, Mr. Futrell. It's been some time ago, and then I asked about it, and then we applied for a grant for the metal detectors. Did we ever get that grant? And
So yeah, that's part of the school safety grant, and the thought was that the grant would cover some of that school safety, and that's why you don't see both schools, because that was, the middle school was already covered in the grant, but of course, we're gonna ask.
what it
for
has,
this-
it has 4 schools up here.
Okay, yeah,
So
and
it has,
so,
it's included.
right, at that, and did a walkthrough with everybody at the school this week with the company.
Mhm.
And they're also telling me that some districts are using ESSER. And so I hope to be able to work with federal to actually put that in ESSER too, to come out. But of course, it can stay here as well.
Okay.
So we have the grant, yes, ma'am.
How much did we get in it, grant? Do you remember?
For equipment, I think it was close to $90,000 for equipment.
Question. I thought we realized that we needed increased security cameras as well at the central services building as well.
It's up here. It's already up
Okay.
here. The only one that wasn't up here was, elementary school.
Elementary, okay.
And I don't know, I guess, because I haven't seen, well, I have seen it, but I don't know if it's in the MOA for the community college, for RBEC. Are we responsible for that, or is the community college responsible?
It's my understanding the community college is responsible for safety and security.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
my understanding, that's in the MOA. I hadn't seen it. to put my
I
eyes on
saw it, but
myself.
I can't remember whether or not it was in there, and I'm just thinking, I'm just trying to think of different things I would like to include into
Yes,
this budget, so.
But generally, anytime I make any kind of, like, one of the things I want to work with Mr. Pull is get a monitor in their building, because it's their building. I got to go through their administration to get permission to do things like that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a fix to their facility.
Chromebooks, is that for all 4 schools?
Well, not necessarily middle, but between elementary and high.
Why not middle?
Because middle, we ordered, I think it was 100 last year. So they're okay with what they have now.
So it'll be both high schools, Arvic and the high school.
Or that the students use on laptops.
Okay. So Zeldin is just high school.
Yeah, and Chromebooks too, I'm sorry, they use both. Arvin does.
Can we get both for both, I mean, for both high schools? And have them having the same, technology?
For both high schools, Chromebooks.
Chromebooks, laptops, whatever, whatever one uses, I would like to see the other one using the same thing, because we have students from our high school that are taking college classes, community college classes.
And the principal can also use his 55 money for RVAC, and it doesn't have to go into the
The budget.
calculator.
Okay.
He can use 55 money for that.
Modernization, what is it?
That is the, and I was gonna address that too. That is the conversion of the software. And I think Ms. Bird Robinson was on the board there, Mr. Williams, and you too, Ms. Hale and Ms. Jenkins. Several years ago, before I retired, the state we had entered into a MOU with the State Department to do our conversion. And at that time, there was only 2 software vendors that we could use. It was Tyler, and it was Cherry Rose. And Weldon chose to go with Tyler because we liked what they presented to us. So we entered into a MOU with the Department of Public Instruction because they told us at that time that they would pay for the conversion. And it went on for months and months and months and months and months. But then DPI spent all their money that they were supposed to pay for the districts to do the conversion because Northampton County fell in the same dilemma as we did. They spent all the money doing their conversion. And when I kept talking to the vendor, he was talking with the technology people at DPI. There was no more money. So then I had to bring back another MOU to the board to take us out of the MOU for the conversion. So finance didn't choose not to do the conversion. There was just no funding at that time of the conversion. Because it was like they spent all the money, didn't tell the districts they had spent the money. And I knew the conversion, the modernization had to take place. That is what Mr. Edwards presented to the board for information last month. And I think he's planning to bring it back, this month for approval?
Well, no, I spoke with the attorney and he said that it was approved on the last session for the Links
Links,
software.
yeah.
Okay, so he brought Links, because Links just got approved this school year to be a part of the modernization system. And that's what DPI is going to. DPI started changing probably about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, changing, going to the modernization system. So that's what that is.
And I know this is a budget meeting, but Mr. Edwards, I like, because I've looked into links before.
Yes,
Just probably 2 or 3 days before, well, about probably a week before you presented it. And I really, really like, because Halifax County Schools is using that.
yes,
And it also has a time clock that's embedded into that system.
yes.
So the individuals, when they come to work, they can clock in, they can clock out, and that way they can be tracked a little bit better.
Correct.
And Tyler is the company?
No, Tyler was the company that we was originally gonna go with.
Okay.
He's going with Links.
Links, okay.
Yeah.
So it's links now, okay.
Anything else, Ms. Hill?
No, not unless it's something else they want to add to the budget. Other than that,
So-
we got your marching orders.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
No more
Jay.
questions. I'm just still looking at this is my first time seeing this. The activity bus,
Yes,
and that's included in this. Well, I see an activity bus up here.
okay.
I don't think it's in for this, they show previous years, you
Okay.
have to look up top for the years. Ms.
Okay, so
Hale.
it's 22, 23.
Right,
Yeah, the ESSA took care of that.
That's the took care of.
Both of us.
So what happens with the 5-year plan, each year you'll delete a column, add
Add
another
column.
column.
Gotcha, thank you so much.
Okay, so, Mr. Ellis and Ms. Campbell, and what you want the board members, if they have some additional concerns, when we pick a date next week, to bring that in and then finalize it.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Fair enough.
I don't know if he'll have time to get it all ready for this month's board meeting unless you call a special board meeting in June, because you have to have a budget in place by June 30th, or you have to enter into an interim budget. But now that he knows that the only couple items that need to be added, the process can get started now that you got the figures from the State Department.
Okay, so then let me ask you, I know Ms. Barry Robbins said, I asked for Wednesday or Thursday, but she said Tuesday. Ms. Kim Robinson said Tuesday. Ms. Jenkins, which day would be, will work for you for another meeting to finish this up?
I don't know, I just let you know soon.
Harrison,
Tuesday, Wednesday is good for me.
okay, Tuesday, Michelle,
I sent you Tuesday.
yeah,
I
Tuesday,
sent you
okay.
Tuesday,
Right,
email.
you did send it to us, solid like that. Okay, then, so any suggestions or even comments that board members have, if you'll forward those to, Mr. Edwards, Ms. Campbell, let's say by Monday. And y'all can piece it in by Tuesday, and then we'll be able to make a final decision on the budget on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Would that work? Okay,
That sounds good.
okay, Miss Dr. Carpenter, can you get in touch with Mr. Stevens and Ms. Dickens to have them put it, get it announced, because they're gonna need to go in for, tomorrow at 5:30. We need to get it out there since it's gonna be, Tuesday at 5:30. And on the, yeah, Tuesday at 5:30, yeah, we'll do it.
Because the budget will be submitted to the county commissioners by the 15th.
They already have this. This is what they needed. The final budget. You're working on the final budget now.
So, in other words, now that they've sent us our appropriation,
Mhm,
now we know what we're working with.
mhm.
So now what we're gonna do is, we're through with the county, because that's what.
You'll send them a
We're
copy
gonna
of
send
your
them a copy
final
of it,
budget.
but as far as sending something into them, for them to approve anything, there's no rush into that. What we have to do is work on what we
Mhm.
have appropriated to our district and break it down to what we want.
Mhm.
Correct.
And it will be broken down by line item.
I got you.
I think the only other piece that the board has to approve now is the supplemental tax rate.
Okay.
And I shared that with Mr. Williams shared it, so that it just has to be added to your agenda next week.
Okay. I was under the impression that we had it. Okay. Thank you.
And that's capped at 20%, which we're already at 20%, so it's just a formality
Okay.
with the tax rate.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Ms. Campbell, are you saying that we do what we're talking about tonight? And you said that it has to be broken down by line items. Are you saying that does not have to be into the county by the 15th?
No. I've never had a budget to the county by the 15th. I've only presented them the proposed budget. And then once we did the final budget, they got a copy of the final budget. I don't ever recall having something to them by the 15th. I don't recall me doing anything.
Right, and that May 15th came up from Attorney Welber that said we need to have it completed by the 15th.
I can have Mr. Edward reach out to Ms. Denton to see if it's anything due to them by the 15th.
Do that, just to make sure that we,
Right, because I'm hearing conflicting stories. Because everything that I've heard in talking to different people, the 15th is like the date. So it would be good to know if that is still the deadline that we're working against. or working towards, I guess I should say.
Okay, so our special call meeting will be next Tuesday at 5:30. You have any comments or recommendation or proposals, you submit those back to Mr. Edwards. I will say by 12 o'clock, Monday, 12 p.m. So that will give him the afternoon and the next day to pull loose ends together and we can move forward from there. So any recommendations, submit it to Mr. Edwards or Ms. Campbell by 12 p.m. on Monday. At this time, there are no other items to discuss other than budget.
Do I need to submit mine to you all that I said tonight, or?
No, I wrote it
Okay.
down.
Okay, a motion,
I make a motion to adjourn.
Ms. L made a motion to adjourn, second by Ms. Harrison. Are there any discussions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Who is that? You, Ms. Barry Roberts or Ms. Kim Roberts?
Both of us.
Oh, all right then. Okay, motion approved. Thank y'all so much for chiming in. Thank y'all for coming in and have a great weekend. Ms. Kim, tell Ms. Empress, I said congratulations again.
Thank
On
you.
that stage.
All right, thank you. I
Yes.
will.
All right.
Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right,
Y'all have a
take
good
care.
weekend. Bye-bye.